you've got the values and the practices, and now you've got practices in between, the values and principles, and you've got the practices in between. Now, if you look at these practices, the top ones there, I'm just going to show you 10 or 12 of them, just the important ones. You look at these, this is a social contract. This is where every team gets together for 1 hour, yeah, and writes yellow sticky notes. So you know these sticky notes, 3M notes, and on each note you write acceptable behavior and unacceptable behavior. And you put them up on the wall, and then you group them, and within 45 minutes you have a list of the behaviors that your team are going to live by. This is not some company policy sent down from the HR department in a big brochure. No, this is what you make. This is what you live. And you put that up on the wall, on the butcher's paper, just on a wall where the team sits. And who is now accountable? Who owns that social contract? The entire team. What if somebody breaks the social contract? Who will hold that person accountable? The entire team. Anyone in the team can say, hey, we talked about this. What? You forgot it? Shall we change the social contract? I had a team once that wrote, of course you write things like be on time for meetings sometimes, yeah? Sometimes you'll write no bullying. Sometimes. So normally what you see on the list is an indication of what's happening. So it's very interesting to look at different social contracts because it gives you a flavor, it gives you a smell of what the existing culture is and what people actually want to change, because you're going to change it now, yeah? So you put it up there and you'll have little penalties if you break it. So I had one team I worked with, and there was a person in there who said, no bad language. That was very difficult for me. So, and $5 in the jar every time you swear. The jar was full of my money, but I tried. Because you have to respect someone else in the team. You have to respect them, yeah? And then at the weekend, we'd all go out for a drink, and then you can use bad language. So those are sort of examples that you have. That's one. Then there's the scale of expectations. I'll show you that one. Now, about 5 years ago, I had a bit of a transformational moment. I went on to an ashram in somewhere in the forest, where you sit and listen to this long bearded man telling you about life and things like this. And then he was a very good guru, by the way. He said something. He said, the worst thing you can give somebody you love is trust. Does that sound sensible? No, it doesn't sound sensible. He said, what do you mean? He said, think about it. Just write down, put your loved one in front of you. Yeah? Now you write down, darling, yeah? I trust you to, finish the sentence, to love me, to be faithful to me, to make my breakfast, to whatever. I trust you to do this. I trust you not to do this. So what is trust? Trust is nothing but a box of expectations with a nice ribbon around it. You don't say them, oh, darling, I have expectations for you. Then you get one on the head. I tried that. It didn't work, you know. It doesn't work. You say, darling, I trust you. But what is it? That's nothing but your set of expectations, yeah? So, it is not condition, it is conditions. That's what it is. So, I brought this back to the workplace, and I've actually developed a little exercise, a practice, that you can talk about your expectations of each other. How many times have you written down and been clear about your expectations with your boss? Can you put up your hands? With your boss, right? Clear. Okay, I've got 2 hands up. Yeah? How many times has your boss been clear of their expectations with you? Been clear. Now, also 1 or 2 hands. Yeah? Yeah, of course, there's a few things, you know, I want you to do this, and they're more commands and instructions, but real expectations. So all you need is half an hour where you sit down together with your customers, your boss, your suppliers, your partners, your product owners, whoever, and you open this little exercise and use your sticky notes, and you talk about your expectations, and you listen. And you put it together, and you have a set of expectations that you will live by. What is acceptable? We talk about self-directing teams, self-empowering teams. Does that mean you can do anything? Tomorrow you can take the money from the cash box and go home? No. So what does it mean? What can you do? What can't you do? That's what expectations are. Yeah? So we're going to talk about them. And you can do it in a practice, and then it's very clear. So there's mood marbles. This is just a jar of marbles. Do you know marbles here? Marbles? Yeah? What do you call them? Oh, gulich? Okay. Yeah. Gulichki. Yeah. Yeah. So these colored glass balls. Yeah? So you have red ones and green ones in a big bowl, and you have a glass jar where your team sits. And every day, when they go home or when they come in the morning, they put a colored marble in the jar, depending on how they feel. Am I feeling good? You put green. If I'm feeling not so good, you put red. At the end of the day, all you have to do is just look at the jar, and from the color, you can tell how your team is feeling. Isn't that wonderful? It's just so simple. Just so simple. Why don't we do it? Oh, no, we have to have a survey. Yeah. Survey. Yeah. Yeah. And then which are the 5 questions? Then we have a preparation meeting to discuss the questions that will be in the questions. Yeah? Then we have to discuss it with the boss. Then we have to find an IT tool. Oh, yeah, that's from the CIO department. And so and so. By the time the year is gone. Yeah? So, simple. Keep it simple. Agile is about simplicity. You find a problem, you will soon develop a practice to solve that problem as well. Okay? So, then there's small things like the stand-up, the retrospective, and the showcase. The stand-up is where you stand up. And we call it a stand-up because when you sit down, things don't happen. Did you realize how difficult it was to get your bottoms out of that chair to touch the pen? Yeah? Yeah, you wanted to. Your mind wanted to, but the body said no. Yeah? I saw it happening. Yeah, you know? Yeah, uh-huh. And then you go a little more, yeah? But you won't get up and do that, yeah? So when you move, things happen. So we stand up, yeah? Because that's when you can actually talk. And then there's a wall there. There's a wall with all the actions. And you're talking to the wall. Now, Agile has, over the last 10 years, absorbed a lot of neuroscience principles in there. When you talk to somebody, and you go like this, and we're talking, and look at the body action, look at the hand movement, yeah? It's all a bit confrontational. So we write story cards, we write yellow stickies, and we put them on the wall. Now we are talking to the board. Everyone is talking to the board. The confrontation isn't there so much. You're talking to the issue, not to the person, right? So you stand up, and you have 1 minute. What did I do since the last stand-up? What am I doing till the next stand-up? And are there any blockers? Look at that question. Are there any blockers? You're asking people, can we help? Agile is a very, very supportive environment. It's tremendously supportive. It's sometimes too supportive. When you're mature, you'll find that you have to actually be careful that you're now all singing Kumbaya together, you know? Yeah? So you have to be careful. But it's very supportive. So because people want to help you. So you say, yeah, yesterday I couldn't do this because I didn't have that. Someone will take a note. I'll help you. I will sort that for you afterwards. That's a stand-up. Retrospective, the most important practice. And I can't tell you how many teams I find that say, oh, yeah, we don't have time because we have to deliver something. You don't have time to learn to do it better, but you have time to do it wrong. That's always there. Yeah? So, retrospective is a little action. You put 3 pieces on the board. So 3 pieces of paper on the board, and one has got a smiley face, one has got a sad face, and one has got question marks on there. Right? And you write yellow stickies. What is working well? What is not working well? And I don't understand this. What puzzles me? You put them up. 15 minutes, you group them, and normally you will get 5 or 10 key problems that the team has. You prioritize them, and you pick the top 2 or 3. You don't want to solve everything. Yeah? And you say, as a team, how am I going to fix that in the next 2 weeks? In the next iteration, how am I going to fix it? There is no boss telling you how to do this. There is no manager telling you to do this. This is the team doing it. There is no transformation group and run group. Yeah? You transform yourselves. It is your job to get better, not someone else's job. Yeah? You come up in the morning every day, you want to be happy. Yeah? So that's that. And then the last set is a set of measures and things. There are burn-up charts, there are bullseyes, there's risk matrix. So the issue chart, how do you do issue management? How do you do risk management? We put a piece of butcher's paper on the wall with a bullseye on it, big bullseye. And anyone at any time can stick a sticky note there that they think is an issue. So Sean, where are you? Here, do you want to tell them what happened with the issue experience?
You got it?
Yeah.
So one day I was away from my desk, and we had the bullseye up on the wall. And the next morning I get in before the team, didn't see anybody, didn't talk to anybody. And on the wall, in the very center of the bullseye, was a yellow sticky, and it said, "This person's time." I won't say whose name it was. But basically, there was one person on the team who didn't have enough time to deliver because they were committed to other things. And there was a little initials on there, SR, Sean Riley, right? As the owner who got assigned to that issue. And so without even talking to anybody, without seeing anybody, without having to go through my emails, anything, I had a very clear indication, very visible indication of an issue that was assigned to me. So it's just one of those visible management systems, one of those very visual cues that was very deliberate and very obvious that something that had to be solved, something that I had to go back and rectify. And so I did, just had a nice little sit down, had discussion. What are the issues? What is the other work? How do we find ways to take some of that off your plate so they can get back and delivering against and be committed to what we have as our commitments as part of the academy? And so just a very practical application of the issue bullseye.
Okay, thanks, Sean. So as you can see, they're all very small, simple practices. You don't need IT systems. You need a lot of paper, butcher's paper, sticky notes, and that sort of thing. Yeah. So this is the example of the contract, the social contract. So you can see here, you can write down the expectations that you have of each other. Now, have you heard sometimes when you say, "Oh, you know him, he's a very good person, but," and you hear a little but at the end, So what is that but? The but is actually saying he or she has a very good character, but the competence is a bit dodgy. So expectation is about two things. It's about character. Trust is about character as well as about competence. Not only about character. Yeah? So you must talk about it. You must talk about what are the expectations, what is the trust I will have in you to do this. Okay? So you do this and everyone writes it and you put it together and you just have a conversation. Sometimes just having the conversation has taken the problem away. Yeah? This is the scale of expectations. This is the chart you can draw on the wall. On this side, there is a rule, and you've deliberately violated it for your own purpose. Is that acceptable or not acceptable? What do you think? It's not acceptable. Yeah? What about, it was clear, but you didn't follow it? What do you think? The team agreed to do something, to do it in some way. But this person said, "No, just do it my way." Yeah? Yeah, not so good, huh? So, oops, what about this one? There is a process, but the process is wrong. It's a stupid process, and I have to follow it? So is that wrong or right? Come on, guys. What do you think? Just listen to your heart. Wrong or right? Don't worry. Shh, put your hands on your ears. Come on, cover it. Yeah, he's not listening. Tell me, what do you think? Wrong. Yeah? It's okay. If the process is faulty, you have to look at solving the process. Yeah? You don't just accept it. No, it's not acceptable. Yeah? But it's your job to fix it. Don't just whinge about it. Oh, it's wrong, it's wrong. Fix it. Yeah? What if it's not clear? The process is not clear. So you don't know how it should be done, and you did something and it's wrong. Can you be blamed for that? No, you have to clarify it. Yeah? Now, you have done something, you have tried something new in the best interest of the company, and it failed. What do you think? Is it okay? Do you want, yeah? Yes, it is okay. Because you need failure. Failure is the way we learn. It is okay. As long as you fail fast, and the biggest failure is if you don't learn from failure. That is the biggest failure. Yeah? So you quickly learn and recover. But the intention must be good. If the intention is this and you fail, then it's a bit dodgy. Yeah? That's not acceptable. So, simple practice. Then, this is very important. This is the wall. From left to right. Can you see the work flowing? This is just columns on the wall. You put sticky tape, and these are your projects. These are your large projects, your medium, small projects. Now, they're waiting discovery. They're waiting approval. They're waiting the resources. Now you're doing discovery. Hey, once the discovery is done, these are the gate checks. This is the approval. Now, yeah, you're waiting. Now you're waiting the resources to deliver. Now it's in delivery. Now it's in deployment. Now it's done. And here are your prioritized lists. Look how simple this is. Just on the wall, every piece of work at the portfolio level is there for everyone to see, not only the boss. And by just looking at this wall, you will see the bottlenecks. Let's supposing you had 23 items in this column awaiting approval. What does it tell you? There is a problem there. Huh? There is a bottleneck in the approval process. It tells you that either there's no point in doing any more work here because you've already got 23 awaiting approval. So why would you waste time doing all this? See, it just starts speaking to you. Yeah? Now these are for projects. You'll have similar walls for operations. Yeah? And you will change these walls. You will change these columns to suit yourself. Yeah? But you visualize the work. The problem we have today is when you work, you go into any office, IBM, anywhere in the world. That's what you see. People behind computers. What are they doing? Even the manager doesn't know. Very often. Yeah, they're very busy. Oh, yes, my team is very busy. Busy doing what? Oh, yep. So, visualize it. Visualize the process, visualize the work, so everyone understands, including the managers, what is going on. Yeah? So, this is a release plan. So, here you can see a project broken down into iterations. Here's all the features that they're doing, and then now you're in iteration number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Iteration number 5 is broken down. You can see what is planned, what's in progress, what's in testing, what's done. It's on the wall. Does this make sense? Yeah. It's there for everyone in the team to see where thing is. Yeah. And on these sticky notes, here you will have people's faces. So you will have pictures. Only one person is responsible. So make sure you take a good photograph as well. And then you put it here. Sometimes they use avatars, they use Pokemon and things like this. Yeah? So you can put your picture on there, and you know by looking at this wall, hey, this is what's working on, and she or he is working on this. And there's all sorts of walls, and you just look at the type there. It's hand-drawn. It's sketched. They are not posters that have been printed in some graphic design company. No, you just hand draw it. You can have scope, you can have the bullseye. Here's the bullseye. Here's the risk matrix. Here's customer satisfaction. You can put your mood marbles. Remember the mood marbles? Every day you just plot red, 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 green, 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 red. What happened there? Okay, red, red, green. Now you're looking at a trend of the mood of the team. And when you do your retrospective, you analyze the mood marbles and you say, we were going perfectly fine. We're green, 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 and now suddenly there's red. What happened? Oh, well, the boss came. Sorry, that was a joke. So here you have the leadership practices. Yeah? So there's all sorts of practices. There's leadership practices, problem-solving practices. And if you look here, there's only a few DevOps practices. Technology practices are a few. There's not many. So my question to you is, just before I go there, Where can you use Agile? What do you think? Everywhere. What about operations? Can you use Agile for operations? Of course. What about projects? What about management? Yeah, of course. You can use it. Yeah? What about developing your strategy? Yes, you can use Agile there. Look at this. This is what you have to do at work. Values and principles. Collaborate, iterate, learn, self-direct. Yeah? So, I want to say something about documentation. In Agile, there's a lot of myths that, in Agile you don't have documentation. In traditional work, what we do is we document, then we pass it. Then you read it, you comment on it, you pass it back. Then you comment on it, you pass it forward. Then you pass it forward. We use documentation to get shared understanding. In Agile, we talk, we converse. Then we get shared understanding, and then we document the outcome. There's a big difference. Yeah? Because documentation, written language can be misinterpreted so much. It is not a very powerful means of communicating. The best way to communicate is to talk, either on the phone or video conference or whatever. So, how many of you can make a curry? Come on, oh my God, in India everyone put their hands up. It was a problem for me. So how many? We've got one person. One, two, three. She says a little bit, small little bit of curry. All right. So if I asked you, you're a cook, you can make some curry, or maybe you can make Slovakian food, and I said, can you bake me French pastry? Can you do French pastry? Maybe not. But I say, no, I want a French pastry. So what do you do then? What do you do? That's it. Google. You go on to Google. Now you don't get the pastry from Google, you get the recipe from Google. Yeah? You get the recipe, you go to the shop, you buy it, then what do? You follow the recipe. Yeah? You don't say halfway through the recipe, the recipe says put it in the oven for 30 minutes, but I'm a curry chef, so I'm going to boil it for 30 minutes. You don't say that. You follow the recipe. The Japanese call that Shuhari. When you're learning Agile or you're learning anything, you follow the recipe. You do the practices as they tell you because you don't know better. You don't understand yet why it's like that. And there's a lot of wisdom why. And you follow the process. Now, once you put it and you bake 2 French pastry, 2, 3, then you say, you know what, it's getting burnt on the outside because you have this very good oven. So you say, I don't keep it for 30 minutes, I keep it for 25 minutes. So you have changed the recipe. That is the Ha stage. And finally, you write your own recipe, and that's the Re stage. So Shuhari. And that's the process you will go through on your learning journey of Agile. When you start, follow the recipe. Once you do it once, twice, thrice, then you say, okay, then you will fine-tune it. So Agile is not prescriptive forever. It gives you some guidelines and some practices to start. Yeah, get on the cycle, now you start. Okay, and then as you go, you start doing things yourself. You start mountain biking yourself.